Determine who you're going to play in the next round. Who would you like to play? Draymond.
Their defense is incredible.
How long we been boys, Draymond? I want the honest answer, Draymond.
You're asking me who I want to play. I'm going to tell you who I think we're going to play. We're going to play Boston.
Just coming over. He is so fired up, Mark. He wants a message to be relayed. He said, tell Draymond Green, thank you. Draymond Green said, we're going to play the Boston Celtics. Udonis has him walk over and says, thank you for the inspiration.
Golden State awaits in the finals for the winner of the Celtics Heat series. Heat stay alive, force Game 7 in Miami after the general public was already kind of writing off Miami. But classic Jimmy Butler fashion, when backs against the wall, he came out swinging. He had a great Game 6, especially offensively. That's been their main issue, I feel, is their defense has been okay. It's just that their offense has been dreadful at times. And still, even at times this game, I was like, this offense is not, there's not a real flow at times if Jimmy wasn't initiating the offense. So if that knee is as an issue as it's been in previous games, it makes it more interesting going right back to Miami on Sunday. Will it be 100%? Will he be 100%? And on the flip side, Boston's bounce back every time y'all have lost a game. Very interesting Game 7, quote unquote, the best two words in sports. So how do you feel about Game 7?
Nervous, excited. I think it's a really interesting game for both teams. Obviously for Miami, the big worry has been their offense. In this game, Jimmy Butler showed up and he was the offense. He puts up almost half of their points. But how sustainable is that for another game? I don't know. I mean, Jimmy's the kind of guy that I absolutely believe that he can do it again in Game 7. But if hypothetically the Celtics start slowing him down or he's just missing shots or whatever, somebody else has to step up. And that's where the Tyler Hero question becomes really important. He's missed, I think, half the series so far, played the first couple games, missed the last 3, I believe. He was really their offense off the bench. And in this game, Kyle Lowry did a really great job of initiating offense because, like you said, if it wasn't Jimmy, it was hard for it to be anybody else. Kyle Lowry was really the only other guy that was initiating like that. And throughout the season, one of the other players who was doing that was Tyler Hero. He wasn't doing it as much in this series in those first couple of games, but it was a small sample size. He could have bounced back. And so I think his injury status is going to be really crucial this game because I believe that Jimmy Butler can have another performance like that, but I'm not banking on him to put up 47 again. That's just an insane performance. If he does, I mean, the guy's crazy. And the same goes for Kyle Lowry. He had a really impressive game. He's been pretty miserable this entire series. And all of a sudden, playoff life's on the line. He finally shows up, had 18 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds. He was involved a lot on the defensive end, drawing fouls, poking the ball loose, especially on Robert Williams in the paint. But once again, if those two guys don't have games like that, Miami just doesn't have a lot of other initiators. And that's sort of unfortunate based on the sort of rosters that they tend to assemble. When you have guys like Max Strus and Duncan Robinson, they're very limited in the offensive output that they can put up because they can't really attack off the dribble. So you got to get involved with all this crazy screen stuff, some catch and shoot. If Jimmy starts struggling like he had in the last couple of games, your offense can just really quickly go stagnant. I think that's really the key to this game is the Heat's offense, because if they're going to come out like they did in this game, they can absolutely win it. But if they go stagnant, I think Boston's going to win because Boston has been far more consistent offensively in this series. They've won 2 of their games in Miami on the series so far. So they've proven that they can go win on the road, but that doesn't always mean anything. Like you were talking about, the media and all these people have sort of written the Miami Heat off after Game 5. But if you literally looked at last round, the Celtics playing the Bucks, they were down 3-2 and they won 2 straight. Including a Game 6 on the opposing team. So of course they went and they did it on the road. Miami, they're in the same situation where they could potentially, they win this game on the road and they could win a Game 7 at home. So we'll see what happens. For my heart, I really hope Boston wins. It would be such a disappointing ride if they were to lose like this.
Yeah, honestly, as a neutral fan, I want Boston to win just because I think they can pose a lot more issues for Golden State as opposed to Miami. Like you mentioned, Miami's just been way too inconsistent on offense. I know he wants Sixth Man of the Year, but even when he was playing the series, Tyler Hero was struggling too. Now, I'm not sure if the groin was already affecting him beforehand, but maybe even just his presence opens things up. Just another reliable shot creator opens things up for Miami. Once again, do credit their defense as well, and really both defenses this series, because some people have been saying it's been an ugly series. It's been a tough series to officiate too, and you can say what you will about the calls and such, but I just got to say I'm glad I don't have a horse in either race right now, because it's like you've alluded to, this is a toss up. I mean, just the way it's home court with Miami's at home, you never know. Just Jimmy Butler, only person that probably really knows how, if he has his knees have another game like that, is Jimmy Butler. And then Tyler Hero's a big question mark. And then for Boston, can people not named Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and I guess you could throw in Derek White, contribute more offensively, or just be more consistent offensively? I mean, Al Horford didn't have a great night tonight, shooting wise. I know he's still a solid passer. Not much for Marcus Smart. He didn't have a great night. Peyton Pritchard's been quiet the past few nights. So hopefully they can just get a little bit more everyone else. And then also late game, if it's a close game like we saw this one, the little things, making you put in our group chat, Jaylen Brown picked a terrible time, missed free throws. And then Tatum had, I think, 4 or 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter. And we've seen this before. It was like a game 3, right? Where another game you should have won. It's kind of like very similar, like you mentioned, to the Bucks series, where honestly, the Celtics have been the better team for the majority part of the series. It's just unable to close in certain moments. But I'm with you. I'm still sticking with my Celtics prediction. I'm not counting quarters here, but they've been the better team throughout most part. Just got to fix some things. They did it last series with Milwaukee with their backs against the wall. I expect them to do it again here. And like we said, they have more answers. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Horford's still going to be solid. I think he bounces back from 1 for 8. In Miami right now, it's just Jimmy Butler is really the only guy I have confidence in.
Like I said, the key for Miami to win Game 7 is going to be their offense. The key to Boston, and I really think that if they can just do this, they can even overcome Miami having good offense, is just playing sound fundamental basketball. They oftentimes have a pretty large size advantage because Miami will run these lineups in which Jimmy and Bam are their 2 tallest players. And so they'll have like Strus, Lowry, Oladipo, PJ Tucker, a combo of all these different guys out there. And they have Robert Williams and Al Horford out there at the same time. And in those sort of situations, the Celtics need to just simply rebound the ball. They can't allow Miami to get easy offensive opportunities off of second chance points. And then simply put, they just can't turn the ball over. That's really been Boston's Achilles heel. And I want to give credit to the Heat because they're really crafty. They're great in the passing lanes. That like the scheme that they play is really, I don't want to say reliant, but friendly when it comes to getting steals. There's just a lot of times in which Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, even Marcus Smart at times can just force the ball in traffic to try and get to the paint when the Heat are putting 2 defenders there. And that's what's causing some of these turnovers. Once again, credit to the Heat, not trying to take anything away from them, but just simply playing sound fundamental basketball, getting the pass out early before those 2 can rip at you. That'll help you win the game. I believe the Celtics, if they win the turnover battle, they're going to win the game. But if they can just limit their turnovers, even if they lose the turnover battle, if they can limit it, they should be fine.